Today we're gonna learn the conflict and power and conflict management skills. Okay, we'll start to conflict and power. Power and conflict go hand in hand because people often use the source of interpersonal power available to them to achieve their desired outcome when conflict occurs. Interpersonal power. Interpersonal power is the degree to which a person is able to influence or control his or her control relational partner. During a conflict, you may not even be aware of how you draw on the power that you have or that the other person exerts power to influence you. Nonetheless, power-ish is often the backstory to the conflict. Research has found the gender difference in the way we use, interpret, and respond to power in our relationship. Men's perception of whether they had power in a relationship was often not directly related to whether they were observed to dominate a conversation, nor did it correlate with what they actually did when talking with others. Understanding principles of power and source of power can give you greater insight into how you are using power to influence others to achieve your goals and how others are seeking to influence or control you, especially during conflict. Power principles. Power principles. Power exists in all relationships. Power derives from the ability to meet a person's needs. Dependent relationship, both the people in a relationship have some power. Power is circumstantial. Power is negotiated. Understanding the role of power in our relations with others can help explain and predict our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, especially during relational conflict. Power exists in all relationships. Mutual influence is an essential element any time you relate to others. Power derives from the ability to meet a person's needs. If you can meet someone's needs, then you have a power. Inclusion, control, affection, food, clothing, safety, sex, and money are needs. In a dependent relationship, one person has a greater need for the other, for the partner to satisfy his or her needs. One study of heterosexual romantic couples found that the partner with less emotional involvement in relationship has more power, and his was generally the main. The more we depend on one person to satisfy our needs, the more power that person has over us. Both people in a relationship have some power. When you were a child, your parents clearly had more power than you did. During conflict, especially when you were quite young, they used their power to resolve things in their favor. When two people are satisfying each other's needs, they create an interdependent relationship. Each person in the relationship has some amount of power over the other. Power is circumstantial. As you age and develop the skills, you no longer needed your parents to meet certain needs, and then their power diminished. Depending on the circumstance, the power balance ebbs and flows in a relationship over time. Power is negotiated. Power is negotiated. If one partner wants the power to control the TV remote, and the other person also want to have a channel changing power, conflict and tension result unless some negotiation occurs. Okay, you decide what we want between 6 and 8 p.m. and I will control the remote the next 2 hours. You can say that. Maybe one couple's way of negotiating the power. With power negotiated, the conflict is managed. Unless one of the individuals want to revisit who is in charge of the remote. If the negotiation is about something more significant than who watched the TV program, the conflict can be more intense since more is at stake during the power negotiations. Power source. We're gonna explore the power source. Understanding the source of power can help you analyze the power that you have and the others have over you. John, French, and Bertrand Russell developed a classic framework for identifying the source of power. 5 sources of power they identified are legitimate power, latent power, legitimate or position power, referent power, expert power, reward power, and coercive power. We estimate power like teachers, parents, law officers, store managers, and company presidents all have a power because of the position they hold relative to other people, right? Referent power. We let people we like influences us. We change our behavior to meet their demand or desires because we feel attracted to them. Expert power. Example, that your teenager son knows more about computers than you do. So you let him try his hand at solving a computer glitch. Such expertise can include knowledge about how to manage a relationship effectively. We grant power to partners who have more experience in relationship. Reward power, like as money, such as money and gift, talent, tangible. But most reward are more interpersonal in nature. Coercive power. Coercive power means power based on the use of sanctions or punishment to influence others. Sanctions include holding back or removing a reward. If you have a high need for physical affection, your partner might withhold that affection if you do not comply with a given request. Power pursued. Power to persuade. When we have a power, we may use it to manage conflict in order to achieve our goals and meet our needs using compliance gaining strategy. Compliance gaining involves taking actions in interpersonal relationship to gain something from our partners, to get others to comply with our goals. People with more power can be more efficient in gaining compliance by using simple, more direct strategy to accomplish their goals. For example, telling your boss that you want a Friday night off or you will quit might result in a loss of a job. Research suggests that persuasive strategy involving either logic or emotion were viewed is more efficient, more effective in face-to-face interaction than in computer-mediated one. Positive and affirming strategy include politely making requests, suggesting, automating, summarizing areas of agreement, thanking the other person, making a promise, acknowledges similarity and different, or assuring the other person that it will be all okay in the end. Perhaps you've heard the phrase, everything will be okay in the end. If it is not okay, it's not the end. More assertive strategy of seeking compliance include accusing, arguing, blaming, challenging, complaining, criticizing, demanding, pleading, reprimanding, or issuing a warning. We plot strategies that developed over a number of interactions and modified them in accordance with others' response. Power negotiation. In the first year of marriage, couples often argue about balancing job and family, financial problems, including who spend more money and on what. The frequency of sexual relation and division of household tasks. These problems involve each of power, control, responsibility, and decision making that need to be negotiated. When a partner abuses power, ending the relationship may be warranted. Ideally, partners negotiate a mutually acceptable and wielding power relationship, reflecting not just on your needs, but also on the needs of the other person, is an other-oriented strategy that can help you honestly and realistically start the negotiation process. We're gonna learn conflict management style. You know that, yeah? Somebody knows the conflict management style, somebody doesn't know that. Okay, conflict management style. The conflict style we choose depends on several factors. Our personality, our attachment style, we learn that, yeah? The individual with whom we are in conflict, the time and place of the confrontation, and other situation factors. On one Sunday, found that if one research in the one research they found that if a couple watches TV program that include lots of conflict and bickering, the couple is slightly more likely to use more dominating strategy when managing conflict. You know the conflict management style? Avoidance. They have two dimensions. Concern for self. Concern for self, concern for others. Avoidance here. Avoidance. Avoidance, accommodation, here, compromise, here, competition, here, collaboration. We know the Bosnian satire author of people making. One word. People making. Bosnian satire authors of people making, a book about family communication, suggests that we learn conflict response patterns early in life. One research team linked a person attachment style. Not here. We learned that attachment style. Secure, anxious, or avoidant. Do you remember? One research team linked a person's attachment style to the style that person used to manage conflict. One of several classifications of conflict management styles in a 5-style model based on the work of K.W. Thomas and R.H. Kiernan that include two primary dimensions, concern for others, concern for self. The 5 styles are avoidance, accommodation, compromise, competition, collaboration. Okay. Okay. Demand withdrawal pattern of conflict management means patterns in which one person makes a demand and the other person avoid conflict by changing the subject or walking away. One character of an avoidant conflict management style is the demand withdrawal pattern of conflict management. This is a communication pattern in which one person makes the demand and the other person avoids the conflict by changing the subject or just walking away. He or she withdraws from the conflict. The demand withdrawal pattern is speculated to occur because one of the partners in the relationship want to change the relationship and the other person does not. Another reason may simply be that the person who withdraw may not care about the relationship, or he or she may care, but believes that more talking simply won't help. Or if one or both partners anticipate negative emotions such as anger and destructive personal attracts, then they may think, what's use of trying to solve this issue, and withdraw from the conflict. But another reason people withdraw is that they simply don't like to engage in conflict. Research has found that the demand withdrawal communication pattern results in lower level of relationship satisfaction. We don't like it when a person makes demand and then refuse to talk about the issue. In some respects, avoiding conflict could be perceived as uncooperative. However, avoiding conflict has some advantage. Doing so provides time for each person to think about the issue, cool down, and form the other approach to dealing with the issue. If the conflict issue really is trivial, it may be advantageous not to throttle up the tension. Avoiding conflict can also allow each person to save face, right? Avoiding conflict also has several disadvantages. If you avoid the conflict, you may be sending a message that you really don't care about the other person's feelings. You're more concerned about your own needs. Avoiding the conflict may also make things worse. Simmering conflict may boil over if it's not tended to. And of course, another disadvantage is that issue remained unresolved. Like a lump in the throat, the conflict just sits there. Accommodation. Accommodation is conflict management style that involve in giving into the demands of others. Sometimes people who accommodate don't seem to get angry or upset. They just do what others want them to do. But in reality, they also accommodate to serve their own interests. The conflict management style is sometimes called the lose-win approach. A person may sometimes accommodate for self-protection rather than because he or she is genuinely interested in others. As Martin said to look, I'm not in agreement with you on the QCN merger. I think the merger should be called off. Luke said, okay, whatever you think is best. I just want you to feel good about your decision. Like other conflict style, accommodating has disadvantage. We have stressed the importance of becoming other-oriented, but we've also not been other-oriented means considering the needs and the position of other person without necessarily doing what the person wants. To accommodate can give a accommodator a false sense of security by producing a pseudo solution, one that doesn't really solve anything, but just to postpone the effect of seeking a solution to the problem. Also, if you consistently accommodate, you may diminish your power to extend that others take advantage of you. The next time a conflict arises, the expectation may be that you will give in and the other person will get his or her way again. In addition, if you accommodate too quickly, you short circuit the possibility of finding a creative solution that is to everyone's liking. Competition. You know the competition. The competition complements my style that stresses winning, a conflict at the expense of other person involved. People who competed often resort to blaming, seeking a scapegoat rather than assuming responsibility for a conflict. I didn't do it. Don't look at me. He made me do it. That's a typical blaming statement, right? The boyfriend who says, if you don't stop calling me names, I'm going to leave you, has issued a threat. He has the power to leave. If he were to say, don't call your parents' name, or they write you out of their will, that would be warning. In reality, he has no control over his parents, his partner's parents. Obviously, threats are more powerful than warning in changing behavior. And then, only if the other person would genuinely find the threatened action punishing or disruptive. If a parent threatens to ground a child, the child will take the threat seriously. Only if he or she knows the parent will carry it out. Okay. Even hard-fought election and controversial trials have rules designed to maintain fairness for all involved in conflict or decision. During often emotional periods of competition, those involved nonetheless need to maintain an ethical concern for others. Okay? Compromise. Compromise complements my style that attempt to find the middle ground in a conflict. Compromise has some advantage. It can be a good thing if a quick resolution to the conflict is needed, and it reinforces the notion that all parties involved share in equal power. Compromise can also be useful if what is needed is a temporary solution, and it has the advantage of helping someone save face because everyone wins at least something. But if the compromise results in each person giving in but no person feeling pleased, with the compromise, then a more collaborative approach to managing the conflict may be appropriate. Collaboration. Collaboration collaboration conflict style is best used when all sides of the conflict need fresh new ideas. Enhanced commitment to the solution is important because all are involved in shaping an outcome. It's important to establish a rapport and a positive relational climate. Emotional feelings are intense, and all involved in the conflict need to be listened to. Or it's important to affirm the value of interpersonal relationship. Each style has advantages and disadvantages. No style has an inherent advantage all of the time. The competent, other-oriented communicator consciously decide whether to compete, avoid, compromise, accommodate, or collaborate. Research suggests that most people find the following least effective: no clear resolution, a poorly managed process, the avoidance of each one or both. Partners still want to discuss. No single conflict management style works in all situations, but we do strongly suggest that when time and other factors permit, a collaborate win-win conflict management style is worth exploring. The conflict management skills presented in the final section of the lecture and anchored in a collaborative approach to managing conflict. Okay? So, conflict management skill. Conflict management skills. Managing conflict, especially emotion charged ego conflict, is not easy. The more stress and anxiety you feel at any given time, the more likely you are to experience conflict in your relationship with others. When you are under stress or feeling low, it's more likely that conflict will become personal and degenerate into ego conflict. And opposite is also true. when you are rested and relaxed, you are less likely to experience conflict. Okay? Manage your emotions. Manage your emotions. That's important. Such changes fuel our fight or flight response. If you choose to stay, a bubble or physical violence may erupt. If we flee from the conflict, we cannot resolve it. Until we can tone down our emotions, we will find it difficult to apply other skills. Let's look at some specific strategy that you can draw on when an intense emotional response to conflict clouds your judgment and decision-making skills. Be aware that you are becoming angry and emotionally violent. And seek to understand why you are angry and emotional. Think about, you become very, very angry, you think about. You experience a sense of righteous indignation when you are angry. You are being denied something you feel you should have. Another is a make unconscious decision about whether to express your anger. Sometimes the wisest strategy to be the honest with others and express how you feel. I was angry with my friend. I was angry with my boss. I told it not. My wrath did grow. Another thing is select a mutually acceptable time and place to discuss our conflict. Plan your message. Plan your message. If you are approaching someone to discuss a disagreement, take care to organize your message. Consider rehearsing what you will say. Identify your goal and determine what outcome you would like. Do not bark in and pour out your emotions. Breathe. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to avoid overheating is to breathe. As you become aware that your emotions are starting to erupt, take a slow, deep breath. Then breath again. Monitor nonverbal your message. Monitor nonverbal message. We learned that nonverbal message, your action play a key role in establishing the emotional climate in any relationship. Monitoring your nonverbal message can help to de-escalate an emotion charged situation. Okay. Speaking calmly, using direct eye contact, maintaining a calm, non-threatening facial expression will signal that you wish to collaborate rather than control. Your non-verbal message should also support your verbal response. If you say you are listening to someone, but you continue to watch TV or work on a report, you are communicating lack of interest in a speaker and the message. Another thing is avoid personal attacks, name calling, and emotional overstatement. Using threats and derogatory names can turn a simple conflict into echo conflict. When people feel attacked, they respond by protecting themselves. Research has found that when husband and wives feel disconfirmed during conflict because of a name calling or because their partner has made a nasty comment, relational satisfaction significantly decrease. It's not surprising that people don't like to be called names. Although you may feel hurt and angry, try to avoid exaggerating your emotions and hurling negative personal comments at your partner. Okay. Also avoid the bad habit of gunny-sacking. Gunny-sacking means dragging up all the problem and issue from the past to use against your partner. So also avoid the bad habit of gunny sacking. Okay? Take time to establish rapport. Take time to establish rapport. Taking time to establish a positive emotional climate can pay big dividend. This is especially important if you are not well acquainted with the person you are having conflict with. One study compared how effectively conflict was managed in two different groups. In one group, the conflict negotiator spent time face to face, schmoozing, and getting to know one another. People trying to negotiate a solution to conflict. In the other group, the negotiators exchanged information via email, but did not meet face to face. The negotiators who spent time establishing a positive relationship in person were more successful in managing the conflict to everyone's satisfaction. Another way of establishing rapport is to consider using appropriate humor to lighten the mood. The study found that using humor effectively during a period of emotionally infused conflict can help take a sting out of discussions of difficult topics. Okay, use self-talk. I'm tired. If I snarl back, all we will do is escalate the issue out of the proportion. I will talk to Monica later after we have both cooled down, like that. Okay? Perhaps you think that talking to yourself is eccentricity. Nothing could be further from the truth. Okay? When self-talk, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Like that. They control she was acknowledging the power of self-talk to affect your emotional response to what others say and do. Okay. By expressing your irritation, you may motivate the other person to come up with a better alternative. In most cases, escalating emotional tension decreases the likelihood that the conflict will be managed smoothly and effectively. But sometimes being honest in expressing your bubbling frustration may not things along in a productive way, especially if no good alternative exists. Okay, manage information. The celebrity described the company producing event. Take time talking. That's a simple but powerful. Owns your statement by using describe, I message. Use effective listening skills. Okay? Check your understanding of what others say and do. Okay? Check your understanding of what others say and do. Be empathy. Be empathy. Identify managing goal. Identify your goal and your partner's goal. After you describe, listen, and respond, your next task should be to identify what you would like to have happen. It's a problem. Write down that. And goals. Your for example, problem. Your boss wants you to work overtime. You need to pick up your son from daycare. So your goal is like that. You want to leave work on time. Your boss wanted the work complete as soon as possible. Problem. Your spouse wants to sleep with the window open. You like a warm room and sleep better with the window closed. That's a problem. So goal set out like that. You want a good night's rest. Your spouse wants a good night rest. That's goal. So useful. It's useful to identify your partner's goal. In order to manage conflict, you need to know what the other person wants. Use effective listening and responding skills to determine what each of you wants to verbalize your goals. Obviously, if you both keep your goals hidden, it will be difficult to manage the conflict. Another thing is identify where your goal and your partner's goal overlap. Manage the problem. So you use the principal negotiation strategy. Use a problem-solving structure and develop a solution that helps each person save face. So use a principled negotiation strategy. Like that, separate the people from the problem. Focus on shared interest. Generate many options to solve the problem. Base decision on objective criteria. Use a problem-solving structure, right? And develop solutions that help each person save face. So we're done. Next class we're gonna learn to understand the interpersonal relationship. Okay, see you. Bye bye. Thank you.